Hello, I hope you're doing well today. I am going to talk through what I've done so far on the AI lessons. So far, what I have done, if you were to visit Black-Liberation.Tech, the website, I'll put it in the chat, you would be able to see, I'll get the link to the actual lessons. So here's the link to the lessons that I have developed so far on Black-Liberation.Tech. I started off with some things that could be explored by anyone who was interested. All they had to do was go through the different topics underneath Explore. But then after someone reviewed the website, they were like, okay, so where do I start if I'm just jumping in? So let's say that I'm not the facilitator of the actual program that's going on. Where can they go in order to get step-by-step steps on how to move in Black-Liberation.Tech? And so that's what I worked on yesterday. And so I'm going to explain that. If you are on my Patreon, then you will be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that those who are on my Patreon will be able to follow along where I am. So once again, if you go to Black-Liberation.Tech, you will see the home page. Please note that at the top of the page, you have a button for Espanol. So one of the things that I'm making a conscious effort in doing, making sure that I have available the lessons not only in English, but also in Spanish. I do know a bit. I have 5 years of learning when it comes to Spanish, and so I do know some Spanish well enough to investigate things if they look funny, but also because I know Spanish, I know that sometimes you need to ask more so for the gist of what you're saying as opposed to word for word translation. And so if you're using Google to get to this site, then you are able to toggle between, if you're using Google Chrome, you're able to toggle between Spanish and English. And so this is the Spanish site, so it needs to be in Spanish. So this is what it looks like in Spanish. You would go to Lesiones, and you will be able to see the lessons from there. And this first section is talking about careers, and it has the different list of fields and industries, if you will. I'm going to go to the English side to help myself out. And so here we have Black-Liberation.Tech. I'm going to go to lessons. Underneath lessons, I have here careers. And it starts off by saying, careers, discover diverse tech careers and a few of the women who make up these spaces, explore paths and opportunities, uncovering hidden possibilities in the ever-evolving tech world. And so these are the lessons that I have prepped so far. As you can see here, it says lesson, select a lesson ID. So I have them labeled C1.0 and the title through C1, well, C4.2 with each with its own indication. So the point O's are all dedicated to explorations. The 1.1s are going to talk about navigating, and the 1.2s are going to talk about how to pursue it. So how do you get there? What paths can you take in order to get to where you want to go? Now, this took some thought because I needed to leave the lesson open enough for people to explore themselves based on who they are and where they are. Now, just follow along. So as you can see, I have the different lessons, but I have a list of fields listed before you get started. I recommend that you go to the different fields and take a look. What are you interested in? And what you can do, you can say, you know what? I am interested in educational services. So I'm going to highlight that, copy it, and I'm going to paste it to a Word document just so that I have it when I want to come back to it later during the lessons. So I have the educational services highlighted. Once again, thank you for joining me. I'm going to drop where I am in the chat so you can follow along if you want to. I'm at the Black-Liberation.Tech website on lessons. And so what you can do Once again, you go to Black-Liberation.Tech to the lesson section. And right now I've selected educational services because that's something that I'm interested in. But you know what? I'm also interested in art, entertainment, and recreation. So I'm going to copy that and paste it to a Word document so I can save that for later. And I'm also interested in, with my public policy degree, I'm also interested in public administration. And so that is going to get at things that are run by the government, in short. So think about the different municipalities that you have available in your city, your town, your county, your state, on the national level. Public administration is going to deal with those spaces and can also include nonprofits. It's going to cover a whole array of things. In fact, it's going to cover all of these other traditional areas. And I say that because it does, it doubles over. So this is an aside, but like with public administration, I have an actual classmate who's not only in public administration, meaning that she's working for a county government agency, she's actually working in transportation. So she has an MPA, a Master's of Public Administration, but she has a focus on transportation specifically. And with that, she's worked with places like GDOT. She's also worked with MARTA. She's also worked with one of the counties in Atlanta, Georgia, or near Atlanta, Georgia, I should say. And so that could be something that she could pull for herself. So those are the traditional fields that I'm interested in. So just to recap, educational services, arts, entertainment, and recreation. And I'm specifically myself, I'm interested in arts and then public administration. So how the government intervenes in that section, or how public funding intervenes. So I am in higher education. It is a private institution. However, my jobs that I have held at the institution since my start have all been funded by federal and private grants. And so that's a piece of public administration that is important to consider, because when people apply for grants, they're asking, when they're federal grants, they're asking to use taxpayers' dollars to provide services wherever there's a gap in service. All right, so now I'm going to take a look at the emerging or interdisciplinary fields. And so I am interested in artificial intelligence. Now, machine learning, that part, I'm not going to go that far into it. I have a high level understanding in terms of the general idea of machine learning, but I'm just going to highlight the artificial intelligence piece because I'm interested in artificial intelligence from a prompt engineer standpoint. So someone who creates the instructions, and in my case, I'm using no-code prompt engineering with OpenAI, so ChatGPT in particular, so that I can give it instructions to carry out tasks. And with depending upon what type of AI you're using, those tasks can be anywhere from writing, it can be creating chat bots, it could be for generating images. And in my case, for today, I'm going to work with ChatGPT. So I'm going to be looking at writing prompts that will require ChatGPT to reply in writing. And I also could take a look at images as well. The images on ChatGPT, I have to say, they're not as refined as the ones that are dedicated to generating images. So when you're talking about Journey, or if you're talking about some other ones that I will list somewhere, those have a higher quality when it comes to the images they create. So I'm just going to highlight and copy this part right here, artificial intelligence. That's another one of my areas of interest. And so I have that going. Now, cybersecurity, yes, I'm interested in it, but for more so from the standpoint to make sure that I'm an informed user. Data science, yes, but not today. Robotics, digital health, and telemedicine. So these are the different types of emerging interdisciplinary fields. Not quite so much. Blockchain technology, augmented reality, Internet of Things, user experience and user design. I am actually interested in UX research. I have a general understanding of human-computer interaction, but my focus is going to be on the something that is more UX, UI, so user experience and user interface. So when it comes to people actually engaging with my site, I want to know, does it work for them? Does it meet their needs? Is it worthwhile? Is it confusing? What do they get out of it? Is it solving a problem? Is it helping to fill a gap, address an issue, or meet a need? Quantum computing, esport and gaming, space exploration and aerospace technology, social innovation, and impact entrepreneurship. That could be interesting. I'm going to highlight and copy that onto my Word document. All right, cultural and creative industries, not quite so much for me. Food, technology, and agriculture, innovation, educational technology, that's me, that's my field. I have a PhD in instructional technology, and so I have used it as an educator in terms of integrating technology into learning environments, designing online learning environments for learning purposes, so forth and so on. I've been an instructional technologist where I have actually helped others to do the same, as well as design learning modules and things of that nature for their, let's say, their Blackboard or their Canvas or their Moodle classroom, whether they taught online solely or if they did a hybrid and they had that as their learning management systems. One of those is their learning management systems. And then we have synthetic biology and bioinformatics, maybe in a previous time, but not today. So I have copied out my fields. And so now I'm going to take a look at the exploration. So once again, I've built out these 4 lessons. And so I'm going to start with this first one. The purpose of this is to get some scaffolding. So someone can start at 1, but hey, there are people who might look at step 1 or not step 1, but lesson 1 and say, I think I want to move on from this. So the first lesson, C1.0, exploration of career interest. I have an image here and it was generated by Dell E. So that is one of the aspects of ChatGPT that I have played with. In order to get this image, I do share that in my Patreon. So in my Patreon, I've posted the prompts that I've used to generate these images as well as the lessons. So this is the rule of thumb. Anything that you enter into ChatGPT belongs to you, but whatever comes out of it technically belongs to the AI that you're using. So ChatGPT in this case. And so this is the lesson that has come about as a result of me asking it to create one. And the objective of this lesson is to help individuals identify their general interest in technology and non-tech fields and begin exploring career opportunities. So once again, I'm going to just actually, let me pin it. So I've pinned where you can hop on to the lessons. Right now I'm at lesson C 1.0. And so I'm just going through that here on my screen. If you join my Patreon, then you'll be able to see my screen as I move. Otherwise, you will be able to see it on TikTok and in other spaces after I edit it. So right now I'm talking through it. So that's the objective. The next part, step 1, respond to prompts. So use the following prompts to help guide your initial exploration of interest. What areas of technology do you find exciting or intriguing? Coding, cybersecurity, design, AI. So for the sake of today's conversation, I am interested in AI. So I'm going to highlight, copy that, and paste that onto my Word document. So once again, I'm keeping track of the things that I will use in my exploration. Now, the next question, what activities or hobbies do you enjoy outside of technology? So sports, arts, volunteering, cooking, etc. Well, you know what? Let me take a scroll down a little further. And here I have a list of examples of areas of technology. Those areas include artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, data science and analytics, cybersecurity, blockchain technology, Internet of Things, cloud computing, Quantum computing is way out there. And this is what I know about quantum computing. It goes beyond ones and zeros. So if you want to find out more about quantum computing, I want to encourage you to go ahead and look out and do a Google search and find out, is it worth your further inquiry? And feel free to put in the comments if you do know about quantum computing and you want to tell others about it. Other areas of technology include robotics and automation. So think about those automated cars that they're coming out with. Are those the types of things that interest you? Augmented reality, virtual reality, extended reality, natural language processing, also known as NLP, big data, edge computing, computer vision, human computer interaction, so HCI, 5G technology, software development, mobile application development, web development, DevOps. So DevOps, take a look and look that up if you want to explore it further. Digital twins, bioinformatics, biotechnology, wearable technology. So we're talking about your Fitbits, we're talking about your Apple Watches, we're talking about those who wear different pieces of technology in order to detect their levels, their blood sugar levels, that they can then scan with their phone and find out how they're doing. And then if they need to take their medicine to control their sugar levels, that's an example of a wearable technology. Autonomous vehicles, gaming technology, telecommunications, smart city technology. Now, I will say this about smart city technologies. I went to a conference and there was someone who was helping to develop smart cities technology, and they were using the power generated from people walking, like on the sidewalks. They were using different things that were just friction based this is my simplified version of it, friction based in generating energy. They were taking that energy in order to use that energy to power things in the city. And I thought that was amazing. Other areas of technology include e-commerce technology, financial technology, so fintech, anyone who's in business, even if you're not necessarily going to be the fintech person, you should know what's happening in fintech so you'll have an understanding of how technology is impacting your industry and where you fit along those lines. I do recall an alumni of the institution coming back to talk to students and explaining that although he graduated with a bachelor's in economics, he actually had to learn some coding in order to help him be a competitive person when it came to working in economics. And so it's good to know what's happening in the technology areas, even if you are not the specialist. So if you're in business, I would recommend knowing what's happening in fintech. If you're in health, I recommend knowing what's going on with health technologies. So even if you're not creating the health technologies, having an understanding of what's happening there can help you along your way. So either getting training on how to use it or being able to provide feedback to those who are creating the health technologies based on what you know as an expert in the field. Educational technologies, that's something that anyone in education, from the teachers, the students on up, they need to have a good understanding of. When people get to undergraduate school, you have to have a good dexterity when it comes to how to navigate a learning space, an online learning space. Even if you're in a traditional program where you're in class, you still will need to know how that educational technology impacts what's happening in your space. Agricultural technology, very important. Green technology, 3D printing, nanotechnology, quantum cryptography, sustainable technology, geospatial technology, energy technology, media and entertainment technology, supply chain and logistic technology, digital marketing technology, CRM systems and technology. For those of you who work in education, the CRMs are going to be the things that handle like your students in terms of onboarding them, taking them into your school, having their identification information that goes along with it, keeping track of the credits they complete, as well as the payments that they make and the payments that are placed on their accounts as a result of financial aid. Those CRMs will also manage donations that are brought into the company. It'll manage the spending, so how funds are spent at an institution. It's going to be the system behind what goes on at that institution, as in terms of student information, financial information, and the like. So when I pay bills, it engages with the CRM. When I pay out stipends, it involves that as well. When people are hired, their information is there, the direct deposit. So CRMs are those things that are used in the background to manage those types of things. So that's just a general description. Please feel free to look up CRM systems and technology to find out more about them. Content management systems, so those can be websites. The content management systems can be places that are available to others. The example I can share would be for my graduate research assistantship students. They were in an after-school program, but they were not enrolled. And so they had to figure out a way to manage their content that they wanted to get to students that did not require them to have login information associated with their educational system, because they were actually a part of this. So I see Raphael, oh geez, Teachers Associations is not happy. I appreciate this topic in an open platform. Promise I'm not a bot. Thank you for not being a bot, Raphael. I appreciate you for being here. The thing is about using AI as an assistant, I want to get at it not being the answer, but a resource. And so the purpose for getting at it in terms of being a resource, that means you're using it. And if I can help you use it in a way that it helps to decrease your cognitive load when it comes to handling some tasks, then it can allow you to spend more time on the things that matter most. So I wish many more took this subject serious. It is very serious. And the reason that I want to push it and help others to explore it more is because if you can get it to help fill in your gaps, then it becomes your personal tutor as opposed to your cheat sheet. I want you to figure out how to ask it to give you guiding questions so that those topics that you're not understanding, you can ask it for guiding questions around cellular respiration. I'm just going to pull from my biology standpoint. So if I'm working with cellular respiration, can you please provide me with a study guide for someone who's new to biology? I'm in ninth grade, and these are the notes that I have, but for some reason, I'm not understanding how something like food that I consume turns into the ATP that shows up at the end. What's another way of explaining it to me? If it was a comic strip, what would the characters sound like? So, what characters are in play? Let those be the names of the different parts of the cell, their structure, their function. Let those be the names of the characters. What are they saying to each other when food is taken in until it becomes actual ATP energy that the body can then use? What happens when I take in sugars and it doesn't get used and some of it gets stored as fat? What does that look like? Can you create a story that I could tell a third grader to help me understand the concept? So that's different from just plugging in. This is the question from my homework about cellular respiration. What's the answer? How many ATP are produced at the end? What's the answer? What's organelle actually performs the function of cellular respiration? So instead of asking it for the answer, ask it to tell you how to get there. So what's the story behind it? What's something that's going to help me remember it so that the next time I engage it and see these funny looking structures, how are they going to help me along the way? And so that's a part of what I want to get at when we're talking about using AI as an assistant. All right, so L.A. Raymond, thank you for joining. I wish many more took this subject seriously. Raphael said, made by humans for humans. L.A. Raymond, as an audio engineer, I've seen firsthand the power of automation and AI. AI is a tool, not a replacement. Exactly. People with no understanding have taken over the subject and have made it doomsday gibberish. I hear you. It's going to take over. It's going to rule the world. My question is, where do you find yourself in this era? Do you have enough information so that you can make informed decisions about how to use it, what you will allow it to do, and what you will not allow it to do? Will you allow it to drive your car? Or is that where you're drawing the line for yourself? And the other thing with education, everybody needs to know something enough so that when it comes time to make a decision, you're making an informed decision. Thank you so much for your engagement. So I'm just going to I have a few more areas in terms of technology. So speech recognition technology, collaborative technology, customer experience, so CX technology, and then examples of hobbies outside of tech. Whatever those look like for you, I'll just list off a few. So sports, running or jogging, yoga, meditation, hiking and camping, cycling and swimming. I'm going to select. I do sing, but I'm not going to pick that. Reading, traveling, bird watching. Interesting. So all of these, I essentially asked ChatGPT to help me out by providing me with a list of hobbies outside of technology, as well as example areas of technology, so that I can then take them and explore things further. So I pulled out from the industries, I pulled out educational services, arts, entertainment, and recreation, public administration, artificial intelligence, UX and UI design, social innovation and impact entrepreneurship, educational technology, and then AI. So now I'm going to go to the next part of the lesson. I'm on lesson C 1.0, and the next question is, I'll work with arts. That'll be my hobby outside of tech. So who is a woman in tech or non-tech field who inspires you? So the first person that comes to mind is Maya Angelou. So I'm going to write down Maya Angelou. All right. What kinds of challenges or activities make you feel energized or excited? Problem solving when implementing programs. I get excited about that, believe it or not. And so bring the singing. I'll put singing on the list. So I'm building my list that I'm then going to use as a part of my prompt at the end of this lesson. Step 2, match responses with career fields. So after answering the prompts, review the traditional and emerging fields list. So that's back on the lessons site underneath careers. There are lists of traditional and emerging disciplines, and I've already copied the ones that I plan to use. And so I'm going to go on. So I've selected a few. I'm going to go on to step 3, ChatGPT and career exploration. And so that one, it says, now that you have your initial answers and chosen field, use ChatGPT to generate diverse job opportunities. Here's a prompt you can use. Based on my interests, insert tech field, and my passion for insert non-tech interests, so art and singing, can you suggest some potential job roles in both traditional and emerging fields? I enjoy blank, so insert an activity or challenge. And so and then there's an example. So I'll read the example and then I'll fill in the blanks for myself. So based on my interest in UX design and my passion for creative writing, can you suggest potential job roles in both traditional and emerging fields? So I'm going to copy this prompt from step 3 in lesson C 1.0, and then I'm going to go over to my ChatGPT. So I'm going to go here, close, enter a new window, minimize that, and now I can share my screen again. So I'm sharing my screen with my Patreon. And so I paste the prompt inside, Now, where it says insert tech field, I'm going to insert AI, so artificial intelligence, and I'm going to put educational technology and educational technology. All right. My non-tech interest, I'm going to enter arts, I should say, and then insert an activity or challenge. So I'm going to insert problem solving when implementing programs. So I'm going to read my prompt back out to you for those who are not in my Patreon to view what I'm doing. So it says, based on my interest in artificial intelligence and educational technology and my passion for arts, and I'll put singing in parentheses since L.A. Raymond asked for bringing in the singing. Can you suggest some potential job roles in both traditional and emerging fields? I enjoy problem solving when implementing programs. And let's just see what ChatGPT comes up with. All right. Woo. So this is what ChatGPT had to say. Given your interest in artificial intelligence, educational technology, and arts, along with your passion for problem solving when implementing programs, here are some potential job roles in both traditional and emerging fields. Traditional fields: educational technology specialist. Implement and manage AI-driven learning platforms, ensuring educators and students can effectively use technology to enhance learning experiences. That's what I'm attempting to do with Black Liberation Technology. So this is great. Instructional designer, design and develop learning materials, incorporating AI tools and techniques to create more personalized and effective educational experiences. I have been an instructional technologist for 3 years at an institution of higher education. And so if I was still in that position, I would definitely be a part of recruiting those who are interested. So early adopters, what happens in higher education, if you're in higher education, or even if you're in places where people can see how others are working and what they're doing, if you can get a hold of those early adopters, they will become your ambassadors because they will show what you're doing. L.A. Raymond says, you'd be good for helping my mother to understand and use ChatGPT. She is really excited about learning how to use it for her business. Excellent. Thank you so much for that, L.A. Raymond. I appreciate it. And that is my purpose with Black Liberation. So Black-Liberation.Tech. That website is an open educational resource that I'm building out. People are welcome to comment and I can make edits. They're also welcome to use the lessons, revamp them, remix them, make them their own, and tweak it so that it fits their purpose. So thank you for that. I would love to have your mother as one of my colleagues who is exploring AI ChatGPT with me. Thank you for that. Now, so the next one, it says program manager, educational tech projects. Oversee the implementation of educational technology platforms, ensuring successful integration of AI tools in school systems or institutions. This is good stuff. Music educator slash technologist. Teach music and singing, incorporating AI or tech-based solutions for learning, such as music composition software or AI-driven vocal training tools. Now, sure, I'll post the link to the lessons, and they are available in English and Spanish. If you start off at the website, there's a button on the home page, and when you move across, that says English, and or if you start off on the English page, it says Espanol, and vice versa. And so I'm in the lesson section, and I've selected the first lesson, which is C 1.0. And so I'm using those prompts and the traditional fields, emerging or interdisciplinary fields, and the list that I provide in order to help fill in the blanks for the prompt so that I can run them through ChatGPT and see what I get based upon my own interests. So my goal was, how can I help somebody explore if I'm not the one asking all the questions? Well, I don't have to ask all the questions. I can provide questions that they answer for themselves. They make note of whatever they're interested in based on those questions. And then if they need some help in terms of thinking about the different fields and the different hobbies and the different things, so forth and so on, I provide lists, but you're not limited to those lists. You know yourself best. And if you can actually turn around and take your interest and your things that you know about yourself to move forward with a chat GPT prompt, then that's going to help you out. So going back, what I wanted to say about the AI-driven vocal training tools. That's interesting because on TikTok, there was a challenge where people had to do do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and get the ball to move through these holes. And when they hit the right pitch, they were able to get it through. And what was interesting about it was that people were making cultural references as to why they were not successful. And if you heard my attempt, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, there's vibrato in my voice. And so that vibrato is me alternating between, and that's helpful in gospel singing because people, rewind, let me talk about me. In gospel singing, where I received my training was in church. And so that vibrato helped in terms of bringing texture to my voice. So although we're singing loud because we need to fill the space, the sound of my voice would not be as harsh when I'm projecting. And so that was a way of controlling, a way of providing texture, and a way of creating character to a song that you would not get if everyone sung it straight. And so what people would say to that TikTok challenge was, oh, this is not meant for gospel singers. This is not meant for people in Black church because it's throwing the challenge off because you can see the ball vibrating and not just going straight through. Thank you, Tim Burry. I appreciate it. So that is a very interesting suggestion brought by ChatGPT. So in the next one, it says Arts Program Coordinator. Manage arts programs, leveraging technology to enhance outreach, engagement, and implementation, focusing on problem solving through innovative tech solutions. Let me tell you about implementing things. You can use ChatGPT to help you with your planning process. You can say, these are, let's say I have one of my nieces, she was interested at one point in being the director of a nonprofit that focused on the arts. And if I'm that director, I can say, we have 3 different programs going on. These are the calendar dates, or let's say they're 90-day classes, or you have a time frame, they're seasonal. You can enter that information into ChatGPT, ask for recommendations. Okay, we start in August. When should we start recruiting? When should we start putting up marketing materials? What kind of marketing plan should I use, knowing that we have funding from grants in order to run our programs, but we need to recruit students? Yes, we can recruit students from our local schools, but if we're starting in August, I want to have the students in place already. So how do I get to them if they're not in school over the summer? What should the marketing material be if I'm going to advertise to churches versus barbershops versus nail salons versus grocery stores versus libraries? How can I tailor the marketing? What should my marketing plan be based upon the time frame of us starting in August and ending in May? Let's just say it's a program that runs alongside the school year. And what should my checkpoints look like in order to report on progress? So let's say I have quarterly reports. When should they take place? What kind of data should I collect? you can layer all this information, front load your prompt for ChatGPT to think about, and then hit the enter key and come out with a marketing plan. You can come out with a timeline. You can come out with your measurable performance objectives. So how are you measuring success? What does that look like? Is it just attendance? Is it how students improve over time when we're talking about art? What are the rubrics that we can provide to our instructors? Or what can I ask our instructors in terms of measures of success when we're talking about their specific discipline? So if we're talking about drawing versus painting versus ballet versus jazz versus African dance, like, what would a rubric look like in order to help us gauge how students are improving over time? And it's not a matter of an A, B, C, D, E, F, but what are those different things that we can look for? You could take the expertise of those who teach the classes and sit with them and talk to them about it, and then come up with a checklist. And perhaps those are the things that you send home to students with information about the program, so that parents know also what should they look for? How do they know if their student is getting better? Where did they start? And where do you hope to have them go by the end? Now, when you collect your data, you can then get feedback from those who are engaging through your surveys. You can ask ChatGPT to help you generate surveys based upon your performance measures, as well as what you want to know from the program participants, both the students and the parents or guardians, and be able to then take that information and use your either SurveyMonkey or your Qualtrics or a Google Forms in order to send that information out so that they can respond on their phones, and you can get data that you then can include in your reports that you share out with your funders. So once again, the possibilities are endless. I want to encourage anyone who's interested to just explore. So you can see how, just by me talking this out with you here, how far I'm going, and I haven't gone anywhere. I'm just sitting still, but I can walk away from my conversation with ChatGPT with ideas that I can explore further, that I can check against other sources. So don't take just ChatGPT's word for it. Go over to Google and see what their AI has to say. See what Apple's AI has to say. Check it against other places. Do searches for yourself and compare and contrast. Now, the catch is, with AI, the concern for bias is that when someone makes something, their values, their beliefs, the things that they hold to be true are embedded and baked into the technology that they create. So I'll give an example. I attended a conference and someone was presenting. They asked the AI, who are the best CEOs? And it came up with list of white males. And it's like, there are a lot of people in this world, they're not all white males. So I say that to caution you against taking things at face value, because some of the things that are baked in are outside of your control. But what you can do, if you know that those things are happening, you can try to counter it with your prompt. So let's be specific and then talk about who you want to include in the results. So let's say you want to have people from diverse backgrounds as a part of your prompt. You need to include that so that you hopefully get a response that has a broader array of people or recommendations that go outside of the default. Okay, now that was the traditional fields. Let's take a look at the emerging fields. In the emerging fields, it says AI in music creation and production. Use AI to develop new music compositions, assist in audio editing, or implement machine learning tools to enhance vocal performance. AI learning architect. Develop and manage AI-driven learning ecosystems that provide adaptive learning experiences based on student needs. This is important. This is why we need educators. This is why we need people who work in counseling services, in special education. This is why we need people from various backgrounds involved when we're talking about AI, especially in arts or creative disciplines. Creative technologists, combine your artistic skills with AI to create interactive installations, performances, or programs that merge technology with singing and music. Learning experience designer, AI focus. So design innovative learning experiences that use AI to cater to individual learner needs, whether through virtual classrooms or intelligent tutoring systems. AI program implementation consultant helps organize, such as schools or universities, implement AI solutions effectively with a strong focus on problem solving during program integration. Now, a reason for this prompt in particular, when it comes to exploring careers, I don't know about you, but the jobs that I had outside of teaching, those were not presented to me in Career Day. So when Career Day came in high school, I did not have an instructional technologist come to my classroom. I did not have a grant writer come to my classroom. I did not have a grant administrator to come to my classroom. I did not have a co-PI of a federal grant come to my classroom. So with this exploration, hopefully it can help someone who is thinking about what to do. Perhaps they want to make a change, to take a look at the different options that are out there, because sometimes what's placed in front of us when we're going along our way, it might be limited and it might not necessarily get at what you're interested in. So the interesting thing about this prompt, I talked about singing and I talked about art and problem solving. And some of the things that came up or were touched on were actual jobs that I have done before, as well as things that I currently try to do as a part of my passion project with Black-Liberation.Tech in order to help others. And so that is that. Now, the last step for this one, and we will close it out, step 5, career search. Now that you've used ChatGPT to identify some potential options, career options based on your interests, conduct a search for each of those careers using Google. Look for general job descriptions, the industries they are found in, and typical responsibilities. Then use another search engine like Bing or Yahoo to compare the results. Do the career descriptions differ? How are the results ranked differently across the search engines? And so this takes you another step further in exploring things for yourself. Yes, I got some information from ChatGPT, but are those jobs available where I live? How can I get into them? So I'm going to pick learning experience designer. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to take a look at AI implementation consultant. I'm going to take that and I'll pick one for music. I'm going to pick music educator / technologist just to see what happens. And so now I'm going to take those that came out as a result of my ChatGPT search. I'm going to copy all of this and save this for later. And I'm going to go over to Google and see what comes up when I enter in learning experience designer. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to go over to Google, paste. All right. So what is a learning experience designer? Learning experience or design guide and examples. Learning experience design versus instructional designer. All right. And then I have 318 learning experience designer jobs in the US. That comes up for LinkedIn. And Indeed, it says 20 learning experience designer jobs available in Atlanta, Georgia. And so then I can go search from there. So hopefully you'll see how this is building to something that is broader in terms of being able to explore how to use AI as an assistant in order to just to explore careers. That's where we are right now. So I'm going to go over next to Yahoo, and I'm going to paste that same search and hit go. So go.south.edu pops up first. So a doctorate in education, instructional design, competency-based ed program. How to become an learning experience designer. Learning experience design. Okay, so this is more about learning. And so what's different here, I'm seeing more information about how to become a learning experience designer versus job openings, learning experience design theories and frameworks. All right, so the last one that it said to take a look at, oh, I didn't do Bing. Let me go to Bing, and I'm going to paste that there and do a search. Oh, it's telling all my business. Okay, hello. Um, that was interesting. I didn't expect to be on the page. So a learning experience designer, LXD, is a professional who creates engaging and compelling learning experiences used in schools and corporate training. People also ask, what is learning experience design? What is learning experience design LXD? How to become, and then videos. ELM. Career Explorer. Coursera. Coursera was also on Yahoo, and then more how to. So the difference I'm seeing between Google, Yahoo, and Bing just on the first look is the actual emphasis for Google, what opportunities are available on Indeed and LinkedIn. And then on Yahoo and Bing, it's talking about how to become that person. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop here. If you have not done so, please feel free to like, subscribe, and share, rate, and review my podcast, Black-Liberation.Tech, so that it will become more discoverable. I will be taking this session and revamping it for my podcast that is available wherever Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and those things are located. Feel free to leave me questions and comments in the comment section. And thank you for joining me. I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.